So today I'm going to show you guys Kenzie's agility training updates. We've been working on some more groundwork for about 2 weeks now. Get, good girl. Get it. Over here. Get it. Good girl. Good girl. Oh, good girl. I've been trying to work on getting her tug work much better. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. What I want is to get a really good tug so that I can reward her. Good girl. Right in front of me. That's my goal. Is so that instead of throwing the toy far away, yes, good girl. Good girl. Yes, good girl. Good girl. Yeah, I can reward her right here with me so that right in front of me, where she is right now, it's called the reinforcement zone. Oh, yeah. Good girl. Good girl. So, good girl. Good girl. Then I can reward her right here, and this is where she's always going to want to be going to. Right? Good girl. Yes. Okay. Good girl. Okay. Good girl. Good girl. Yeah. Good girl. Good girl. So this really helps me cut down on all the treats I'm giving her. Good girl. So something new I've been training her is, out of breath, is something called break. And that is her release word. And releasing her to a certain position, which is up here. Break. Yes. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. That's right. Good girl. Oh. Good girl. Yeah. That's right. Good girl. Break. 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 Yes. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. All right, so I'm going to put the toy away now because she's not being too excited about it. What is this? Got some turkey hot dog here. 98% fat-free. Don't use the real hot dogs. Those are bad news. Good girl. Ready? Yeah? You ready? We've also been working on her lineup. Right? Side. Yes. Good girl. Good girl. Break. Yes. Good girl. Good girl. Ready? Ready? Side. Yes. Good girl. Good girl. Ready? Break. Yes. Good girl, sweetie. Ready? Good girl. Good girl. Ready? Side. Yes. Good girl. Good girl. Okay. So that's called working on her lineup. We've also been working on waltzing, which is getting her to walk in front of me as I go back and forth. Yes. Good girl. Ready? Yes. Good girl. Good girl. So then this work, going back and forth, and her staying with me, this is going to let me teach her the front cross. She already knows that as well. We'll work back and forth one more time. Ready? This way. Good girl! Good girl! Ready? This way. Yes! Good girl! Good girl. So now once I reward her for that, I can turn. Ready? Ready? Yes. Good girl. So that's the front cross. Good girl. Yes. Good girl. Back into waltz position. Yes, good girl. Good girl. This way. Yes, good girl. Ready? Yes, good girl. So I always want to reward her on the leg that I want her to move toward. So that's why whenever I cut in, we're now moving this way, so I want to reward her on this knee. Right? Yes, good girl. Good girl. Yes, good girl. Good girl. That's nice. And then the last thing we've been working on her still is the touch. Right? Good girl. Ready, touch? Yes, good girl.